Everyone. So I kind of just left you hanging for the entire time of this. I think my last video was right around 20 weeks. I was going for my 20-week scan. I he shared that in my early ultrasound, my 12-week ultrasound, that the placenta was covering the cervix. I knew logically that the likelihood that it would remain there was very small. It did not remain there. It's where it's supposed to be. So that is all good and fine and dandy. But let me explain why I just kind of dropped off the face of the planet. Mainly it was because I realized that I was taking so much time making videos about every single moment that I wasn't really getting much else done. And I felt like I was repeating myself, and it was basically the same kind of situation as it was the previous time. And so in my mind, I was like, what's the point? I just kind of was like, I just don't have time for it. I'm busy. I'm tired. I have other things that I need to get done. And so I kind of just stopped, and I didn't really give any explanation. So I apologize. But I'm making this now because I'm currently 37 weeks, and we're going to have the baby in about a week and a half. And I've chosen to be induced this time. My doctor is going out of town over my due date, and I am unwilling to take the risk that my physician won't be there, that I'll have to be delivered by a different physician. And so I had to really have a come to Jesus talk with myself and decide what was more important, going into labor on my own, or having the person that I really trust to keep me safe. And it wasn't just the person, it's him and his backup. So his best friend is actually his backup, and she's just amazing. And I love them both. And I love the other person in their office as well. But the relationship I have with these two is a little bit different than what I have with the third doc in the office. I trust all of them implicitly, but I really would prefer one of these two to deliver me, just because, you know, they've rode this whole ride with me through last pregnancy, through this pregnancy. They know the fears. They know what's really important to me. I don't have to verbalize it. I just know, because they've rode this ride with me. So it was really more of a, what's the most important? Do I take a chance that he won't be back in town, that neither one of them will be back in town because they're all going on vacation together, or just kind of bite the bullet and plan this? So I decided that it would probably be less anxiety inducing for myself if we just planned it. So we're going in on the 29th of February, which happens to also be our anniversary. So not the ideal date, but it's the date that kind of works best for everybody. So that's the date we chose. And we'll start the process then. Some other things I wanted to share, because I am sure I am not the only carrier going through this at the moment. You know, I have only worked with couples from China. So my last couple was from China. This couple is from China. This couple lives in China. And as we know, in our 2020, there is a huge coronavirus outbreak in China right now. And it just so happens that my family is not within the quarantine zone, but I mapped it out, and they're relatively close to it. They speak in kilometers over there, but when I converted the kilometers to miles, they're only like 220 miles from the epicenter of this coronavirus outbreak, which has thrown a huge wrench in this system. You know, the plan was for the whole family was going to be here on the 26th. They would all be here for delivery. It would all just be like it was last time. And then coronavirus happened. And then more importantly, President Trump put a travel restriction or travel advisory or whatever it is, put that out. And that is not very good lighting, is it? Sorry. Put it out that essentially those folks from China couldn't come in, or something to that effect, that they can't, there's travel restrictions in place for folks who are from China, from mainland China. And that essentially if they've been in China, if not even just Chinese, if you've been within China into the last 2 weeks before entering the country, they put you on quarantine. And so we ran into a problem, because on a Friday night there was no travel restrictions, and then I woke up Saturday morning and all of a sudden there was travel restrictions. The White House issued the declaration, or whatever the fancy words are they call it, late Friday night on the 31st of January. So, and it was effective February 1st. So all of a sudden now I have no way to get my parents here. And the plans that we had kind of went out the window. So I did some research. I reached out to my agency. My agency is like, I haven't heard this yet. This is new. Everything should be okay. Except they just hadn't seen the new press release. And yeah, we didn't really know what we were going to do. And then we found out that the mom is actually a Canadian citizen. She's not actually a Chinese citizen. She's a Canadian citizen. She holds a Canadian passport. So she was able to use her Canadian citizenship to get out of China. And I think she lands in China today, actually. And she is spending, I want to say, like 2.5 weeks in Canada to be safe. She said that they had been quarantining themselves and just staying home and trying not to expose themselves to other people to prevent the spread of this, and so that it wouldn't be a problem when she got here. Plus, the last thing we want to do is test out this virus on a newborn. Although I have heard different people who are like, children can't get it. I don't see how children can't get it and only adults can. It's all the same kind of biological makeup. So, but why take a chance? I mean, it's flu season. The baby's not going to be able to have any vaccines till it's 2 months old. And this is a virus that they don't have any control over. They don't have a vaccine for it. They don't really have a treatment plan, it sounds like, for it. And it is running rampant in China, and it is growing in other countries. And so she is taking a little bit of extra precaution to make sure she doesn't show any symptoms before she comes and exposes herself to the baby. Here's the problem with that. Her 14-day wait is up on March 2nd, and we are delivering on February 29th. Yeah. So, yeah, she's not going to be there. And her husband and her older child are staying in China, and they're just going to be home. I mean, there's not a whole lot we can do. We went and got, once I spoke to her and really got a straight answer from her, she was like, yeah, I'm trying to get out of the country. I'm trying to find a way to get out of the country, spend 2 weeks out of the country so I can come into the US so that they'll let me actually enter. That's when it became a problem. But this was like a week ago where it really kind of hit home, and we realized she really can't get out of the country. So when I reached out to my agency again, it's been a week and a half. Yeah, it's been a week and a half. Almost 2 weeks since we had that first conversation. Maybe it was last week. I think it was last week. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, I mean, it was a good chunk of time from when the travel restrictions went into place to when she was like, okay, I'm having trouble getting out of the country. So I reached out to the agency again and was like, hey, because the agency said that they're not super communicative. The agency is only representing me. They're not representing the parents in any capacity or something like that. I don't know. It's weird. And so the parents are kind of doing it on their own. But I got the agency involved. And Jen, my coordinator at Central Coast, was like, okay, I'm on this. And reached out to the parents, reached out to the owner who usually handles our Chinese intended parents. And they all kind of got on board. And now we have a plan in place. But what we really did, what was important, is we went through all of our documentation, our initial contracts, our PBO, our birth order, and everything we had up to this point to see who is listed as guardian of this baby if he is born before she gets here, which we know he will be. And at the time, we didn't know that she was a Canadian citizen. We were unaware that she had a Canadian citizenship. And so we were like digging through this White House press release, and thinking maybe we can use some of these exceptions to this travel restriction to get her in the country, because there's some that said, parents of a US citizen can come in, like there's loopholes, like built-in loopholes for certain parties. And I was like, well, technically she is the parent of a US citizen. I don't know if that's going to apply until after he's born, or if we can like go, hey, look, we know he's going to be born in the United States. I'm not going anywhere. and like give her that pre-birth status. I didn't know. So we were kind of powwowing and talking and trying to get that all planned, but she managed to get out. But in the meantime, what they did is they drew up guardianship paperwork for their friends who live in Las Vegas. And so now their best friends in Las Vegas have been thrown into the role of mom and dad, and are like, it's a little overwhelming, and it's all very, last minute. And I can't imagine that their friends are not just like, holy bejesus, what are we going to do? And I've been trying to help as much as I can, and keep them calm and reassuring, because I just can't imagine all of a sudden going, okay, you get to play mom for a week to a brand new baby, and I need you to go to the hospital, and I need you to bring it home, and you need to go buy everything for it, because she was supposed to be here, they were supposed to have a little bit of time, and then they could go shopping and she'd get what she needs. Well, now they don't have that, and her poor friends are trying to just like last minute buy everything. So and then her friend and I kind of actually worked out a time that was better for both of us to plan this induction. So it's all working out in the end, but it was a little hairy there for a minute. It was a little hairy. Like, I was worried that, they weren't going to be able to get out of the country, and we weren't going to have anybody take care of this baby, and we weren't sure if what was in the birth order was going to be enough to actually grant guardianship to the parent, like the parent's friends, because it's just like one line in there that says, if I'm not available, this is who takes care of her. So they weren't sure if they would let her like actually take the baby home. Maybe she would just be able to make medical decisions. And so it's just been kind of a scramble, hairy weirdness going on, but it's all settled now. Everything's done, which is really nice. So yeah, now we're just in prep mode. I'm home. I'm off work now. I've been contracting a lot. I had my doctor check me last week, because I just contract all the time, especially when I'm at work. And he was like, we got to keep this kid in there a little bit longer. We'd really like to give them a chance. And at the time, we didn't really have a plan for them to get into the States. He's like, we'd rather just keep this kid in there until they can actually get here, and we know a little bit more. And so he was like, no more work if it's that bad at work. Because I was at work one day, I was contracting enough that I was like, maybe I need to go get checked out. Maybe I need to clock out and go to triage and be a patient instead of a nurse today. So, and then today I was still doing CrossFit, but that will not be happening anymore. My husband was like, just stop. And I'm like, I'm fine. Well, my workouts have been mild up until recently. And then the last couple ones have just been a little too much. And so about the time he took me off work is about the time I stopped doing CrossFit, because it's just too much. It's just making me contract too much, and I've got to keep this baby in there. So now I'm just at home in bed being a lazy bum, growing a fetus, and snuggling with my dogs, who sound like they're trying to come in here. Yep, here she comes. There she is. Can you say hi, Miss Molly? Say hi, Miss Molly. Oh, see my wiggle butt. Nope. Go on, get down. Get. Sorry. But yeah, so I'm just chilling at home and resting and relaxing and trying not to do too much stuff. I'm gonna catch up on some paperwork and maybe do crafts. And then in about a week and a half, we'll go up to Las Vegas and have this baby. Spend our anniversary having a baby. This is our 4th true wedding anniversary. I told my doctor I'm gonna push this kid out, go home, and then have margarita. And that's how we're gonna celebrate. So it'll be all right. Everything's okay. Everything's great. Everybody looks great. Baby is awesome. We had a couple of moments where I had a lot of anxiety this time, you guys. I'm not sure why. I like just so much anxiety, so much anxiety. I did have a moment when I was about 33 weeks. I'm 37 now, so I had 33 weeks. I told my doc, I was like, when do these babies supposed to settle into the head down position? And he was like, well, roughly around 32 weeks. And I'm like, well, I'm 33 weeks and he is not head down. And he goes, really? You think so? And I'm like, oh, I know so. Because I can absolutely feel the difference between when his feet are in my pelvis and when his feet are not in my pelvis. And when his feet were in my pelvis, it was more like a dance on my cervix all the time, and like all the movement was down low and there was no movement up here, and I could feel like the small parts poking. And then he would have a real big like kind of movement, and then I would feel all the movement in the top of my stomach and no movement down low, and it would be, I could tell the difference. So at 35 weeks we scanned, and just to look at fluid, like he thought maybe there was a lot of fluid in there, which was allowing the baby to have a lot of room to move. Fluid was great. Baby's size was great. He was 5.5 pounds roughly at that time. He was head down, and he has remained head down since then. So that's really nice. I was very, very, very nervous when I was like, okay, so he's not head down right now. It helps, that I have people who can look at these things regularly. So yeah, he definitely wasn't head down there for a while, and he was not staying. And honestly, until like the day before my 35-week scan, he was not head down. He would go head down, and he'd stay there for a day or two, and then he would flip, and he was there. He was like breech for like 5 days straight. And then I think I had that scan on a Wednesday, and Monday morning I woke up and he was head down again. I could feel him moving in the night, where he'd just go like this in there, and then he'd split himself around, and he stayed that way since. So I feel better about that. I feel better about his size. My anxiety level has like dropped drastically. Funny enough, I just read an article yesterday that said that they are linking mid-pregnancy insomnia to maternal anxiety pre and post-delivery. And they said women who have experience pregnancy insomnia in the mid-pregnancy actually have higher levels of anxiety and report more anxiety just before delivery or during pregnancy and postpartum. So I have been sleeping better, which when I read that, I was like, oh, look at that. I did. Last night I slept all night. I think I woke up once to go to the bathroom, which is awesome. But I have been sleeping better, but I'm not having those long stretches like I did. I mean, I'm tired, but last time I had a lot of insomnia, like every night, like clockwork, 2:00 I'd be awake until about 4:30. And this time I had a short burst of it, like between, I would say like 28 to maybe 33-ish, 35-ish weeks. And it's really in the last couple of weeks that it started to kind of settle down, and I've been able to sleep better at night. I was taking like a Tylenol PM, just one at night, just to help me not fall asleep, because it wasn't a problem falling asleep, it was a problem staying asleep. So, and I'm not taking those anymore. I haven't taken them in over a week and a half maybe. So it's looking better. Excuse me. It's looking better. I feel better. I feel a lot better this pregnancy than I did last pregnancy. I'm not quite as uncomfortable. I've gained the same amount of weight, but I don't look like I've gained the same amount of weight. And so I feel a lot better. I feel like my body feels healthier. My body feels stronger. I don't feel uncomfortable like I did last time. So everything's great. I might update after he's born. I'm not sure. We'll see. I just haven't really decided. This might be my last video. If it is, you guys, thanks for following me through everything. I hope that it brought some education to you girls who are looking at this process, and I tried to be very real in all of these and honest, and only give factual information, not opinion based, when it came to the medical stuff. But yeah, I hope it provided some level of something for people, because that was my whole goal, was to set out and educate, because there was just no education when I started. So everything looks awesome. Hope maybe I'll update again. We'll see. Otherwise, if you guys don't, have a great 2020. Everybody get out and vote. Regardless of how you vote, please vote, because you can't complain if you don't vote. And stay safe. Stay awesome. Thanks, guys.